Welcome back to the Sage Life, and this is the business section, and we are looking at the Sage human in business. The one thing I have experienced over the last 6 years, helping hundreds of clients, is that most business problems are personal growth problems. So what I like to do with people is before we even look at the business, we look at this stuff. How much access do they have to their own Sage? I look at how much of the not very helpful patterns do they have stretched in their own DNA. Most cultures give you business advice without even knowing who you are and how things would work for you. And so a lot of what I find with the people that I help is that they are stuck not because the strategy is bad or wrong. They're stuck because that strategy doesn't work for them. And because they haven't done the work to access the wisdom of their sage, they don't really know what would work for them, what wouldn't work for them, who the right guide would be for them, who the wrong guide would be for them. I wish that a lot of people would take the time to choose the right guidance and choose the right strategies for them. Because business, as I see it, is not complicated. What makes business complicated is the choices that business owner makes day to day. Most of the problems in a business, when I look at it, come from these threads. When you don't have access to your sage, you find that the avoider is choosing your niche. The controller is choosing how you deliver to clients. The hyperachiever is choosing how long you work. I find that these things are deciding how you run your business. And as I said before, strategy, I like to look at these threads because they show me like where the business owner is and what may be at stake. In the past, before I started giving this assessment to people, I would give somebody a strategy and they would be excited, like, oh my God, I'm on it. I'm going to go and just implement this thing. And I would go, okay. And then what they would do is they would go in Canva and they would start to create their offer for a week. And taking the assessment, I would find that their avoider is up there. So once you do not do the work, as I talk about it on the channel, you're going to find that your judgment is clouded. So when there's a new strategy, you run there. When there's a new way to get clients, you run there. When there's a new way to market, you run there. When there's a new way to do something, you run there because it is the thing that is working. When there is a new social media platform, you're there because it is the thing that is trending. When your hyperachiever is active, you look at the people who are successful and you kind of want to copy and paste what they're doing. You forget that you're an individual who is unique, with your unique blueprint, with your custom DNA, and not everything will work for you. So a lot of people who struggle, when I look at it, when I sit with them, I find that their struggle is coming from one of the threads that are not helping them and less about all the strategies that they're getting. So when they change a strategy, they are really fixing the symptom. They are not going to the root and uprooting the hyperachiever. They are not uprooting the pleaser. They're not approaching the avoider. They're not approaching the other things that are at stake for them. Maybe they have this victim mentality. Maybe somebody once left a nasty comment below a video they made, and they decided they were a victim of the internet. And it doesn't matter how much you convince this person they need to write content, they won't. So I feel like this is important because I feel most of the problems in business, if we knew what's underneath the creator, we wouldn't have so many issues. When we take the assessment, which would be in the comment, you kind of see your threads. The avoider, the controller, hyperachiever, hypervigilant, restless, stickler, victim. When you see those threads and you see what's stretched, then it becomes very easy for us to troubleshoot in business and understand what is going wrong. But in the event that this is not the problem, I want to give you the overview of how I see business in simple terms and give you permission to keep it simple. Most people that I give this framework, they have a goal of about 100,000 a year. I'm recording this in 2026. This is Jan. I do not know when you're watching this. My promise could have changed at that point. But this is what I have used in business since COVID. So 5-6 years. Business is very simple. You attract people to yourself. To attract people, you need to be clear, who do you solve and what problem do you solve? The problem is, when another part of your brain is choosing who you serve, what problem is you solve, what you charge, then you find that you're going to have a problem with attract because you're not able to bring in the right people. But in your sage mind, in your sage part of the brain, if you can decide who you serve correctly, and you decide what problem you solve for them correctly, and you decide what you charge, then attract will be easy. And you can attract using communities like DMs and comments. You can attract people from social media. You can attract people from podcasts. You can write social media content. You can use emails. You can go networking online. You can go networking offline. You can be a speaker. You can write a book. There's so many ways you can attract people. You can do JVs, so many ways. But if you don't have the wisdom of your sage, it's going to be hard for you to understand how attract works for you. And so you're going to choose a methodology that doesn't work for you because your pleaser chose it, or your hyperachiever chose it, or your controller chose it. One of your threads that are not very helpful shows how you attract. But when you have access to the wisdom of your sage, which you do by really removing the negative impact of your positive traits, then you can attract because you'll be able to choose the right person, you'll be able to choose the right problem to solve, and you'll be able to choose the right price. And when an audience is not working for you, or an offer is not working for you, you will be able to pivot quickly. What happens is when you don't have the clarity of your sage, you will stay in a market that doesn't work for too long. I've done this before. You will keep serving people that are not going to work out, and you will keep stuck there. So the concept in itself is attract people. It's very simple. There is endless ways to do it. You choose how you do it. But the hard part is what part of your brain is making the choice. Because you can make this choice based on your hyperachiever. The hyperachiever tells you, no, you don't need to choose an audience. Everybody needs your work. You can make this choice based on your pleaser. You can make this choice based on other traits that are not helping you. And that is a struggle, and less of the strategy, which is attract people to yourself. The attract bit is not the hard bit. The hard bit is letting go of the things that are not helping you, and letting go of the ways that don't really fit your DNA, and gravitating more towards the sage way of doing attract, which is it's easy and it's effortless. And you feel like you can do it without much effort. So I'm recording this video because my way of communicating, attracting people to me, is me being on video. That is my sage way of doing it. I could do it in many, many ways, but this is my best way of doing it. It is easy, it is effortless, it is fun for me, and because of that, people love to watch it. But there is other people who hate being on camera, and they hate recording, and they hate everything that I like. And those people have no business creating video. And you can see, if you're trying to create video to attract people into your world, and yet you hate video, how much of a dilemma that is. So in the next training, I'm going to take you through the next part of building a business. We're going to talk about demonstrate, and then we're going to talk about inviting people, and then we're going to talk about delivering to them. And we're going to keep that in the Sage perspective so you can really see how doing the work of taking the assessment and working on these threads is going to make building a business much easier for you.